First of all, do we have, Chane, I'm sure they checked with you. It's okay that we record this?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any new members here tonight? I don't think I see any on.
Didn't see any.
Went back to have my email fixed. They put me on something other than, they put me on Xfinity.
Oh,
And,
Dolly?
why would they do
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay,
Cuckoo,
Bob, are you talking to us?
are you talking to us, Cuckoo?
Oh, sorry. No, he was talking to me. Hi, ladies.
Okay, road trips. We have some very exciting weekends coming up. Rosemary, you want to talk about Kingston?
Yes, the cranberries were not ready when they wanted to harvest this past weekend. So they pretty sure they're going to start Friday or Saturday. So I'll get a final answer from Kim, and then I can put it in the on the Google site and let you know. But it's a fun trip to go down to the cranberry bog there. We've been going for about 5 or 6 years. They love us being there, and then we send them pictures, and I think she now makes a book every year for her family. So anyhow, they love having us down there. They even let us climb up on the higher part so we can get some good shots. So if you can make it down there, it's always a great fix. And again, we always seem to get really good weather on the days they harvest. And this weekend looks to be like really good weather also. I just sent it out in the Google resources about 6:30. We are going to do the Halloween photo shoot again this year. So far, I think we're going to split it, and we're going to be at the house from like say 5 to 6. And then Nancy Morelli has found us right up the street from the house in Old Cemetery. So we're thinking we'd like to go up there, and we wanted it to be old because we don't want to be disrespectful and have people's tombstone with names in it. So this is a very old one. There are no names on it, whatever. There's nice trees there. So, we're asking that people dress up. Come on. If you want to bring your grandchild in a costume, a ghost or whatever, it's fine. Paula has told us what she's going to be. So we were going to try to find a pumpkin patch for Charlie Brown, right, Paula? So I think it will be a lot of fun. So we'll be at the
Quick
house.
question.
Sure.
Where is it? Where's it going to be, and when is it going to be?
Okay, it's going to be on October 26th.
Okay.
And it's the same house. I don't think you came last year, Dan. It's the
No.
Bonnie House in Hanson. It's
Hanson, okay.
It's got a toilet in the living room. It's the classic place to do the Halloween shoot. I'll put
Absolutely.
some photos on Facebook of what we did last year. And then right up the street, about a mile, is an older cemetery, and we thought we'd go there.
Okay.
But again, we need costumes, witches. Come on, bring your son. He'll love it. It's a great time.
Absolutely.
Rosemary, you'll send out the address and directions and all of that.
I will. Yeah, it's in what I just sent out tonight. Yep.
I have extra costumes too. I could bring if anybody wants to
Well, wait a minute,
get
who's
dressed
saying
on
that?
the spot.
Who's saying that?
Paula,
Please, what have you got for costumes, Paula?
oh, you name it.
Oh, bring them along, please. Okay.
I'll
Okay,
bring
and
scary stuff. Scary stuff will work
Okay.
if I can find some.
Carol, the final field trip? Carol here, she was here.
She was here.
Are you on mute, Carol?
Maybe.
Yeah, looks like it's mute.
Okay.
Carol, can you?
All right. Hi.
Okay. Hi, Carol.
There you are.
So I have Sunday, October 27th, to Boston Public Garden for a fall photo walk. That's the day after the big Halloween thing. So I'm thinking about maybe changing it to the following Sunday, November
Carol,
3rd.
we aren't out late, honestly.
Yeah, but it is a
Well,
lot.
I think, yeah, it's a lot. So if anyone has any preference for either Sunday, because it'll be early morning in Boston. So if anyone has a preference for Sunday, October 27th or Sunday, November 3rd, just like put it in the chat or.
We should talk, because I could change mine maybe to Friday night, and that way it's not, you had yours on there first, and this has just come up, so let's chat.
No, I honestly don't mind.
No.
Okay, in other words, people stay tuned.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll discuss it, but if anyone has a preference, we'll discuss it, and if anyone has a preference, I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay.
And and that, we'll just talk about that one for now. We have a few other things coming up, but
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, and people who just came on, the church let us know they're doing some construction. So we're hoping next Tuesday we'll be in person. But there is a chance that we may not be able to use the hall and we might have to go to Zoom. Fingers crossed, it'll all be okay. But, so Kevin, can you just check with her in case we can't meet in person? I'm sure she does Zoom. Everybody does
Will
Zoom.
do.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin, did you want to address speakers that are coming up? I meant you're
Kevin, you're
muted,
on
Kevin.
mute. Kevin, you
Sorry.
have,
Okay,
I should be okay now. Can you hear me?
yes.
yep,
Okay. I'm in and out on Zoom again this week, so I could suddenly disappear mid-sentence. So next week, either in person or Zoom, will be Hope Pashos, who will speak on our astrophotography. And then the week after that, we have creative coastal photography by John Tunney. And then to finish out the month, we have the Quincy History Show that Julia Cumes has put together. So I hope it'll be 3 enjoyable shows in a row, and please tune in for all of them.
Thanks, Kevin. Mhm.
sounds great. We also, I know it's only October, but this time seems to go so quickly. We're looking for volunteers for the holiday party. So let us know if you'd like to volunteer, if you can help setting it up or serving or doing something. Just drop us an email at SSCC site, SITE@gmail.com. What makes this club great is all the people who get involved and volunteer. And plus it's a great way to meet some new people. So hopefully, a number of people will volunteer for that. We all
And
set?
last, I think, flyers, we will have flyers with us next week, and we'll ask you, I know many of you put them in libraries and different places last year. They may have taken them down considering it was old news, so if you want to revisit your libraries and hand them out, it certainly did a great job of getting new members last year. So we're going to ask you next week to maybe take one home and bring it to a library or a coffee shop or something like that, because it's where we get that in Instagram, a lot of new people.
And we really have gotten a lot of new members, which is, we need fresh blood to keep this club alive. And last year, everyone did a great job recruiting, so we really have to keep it up again.
Okay.
Okay,
we're
we
good?
need to, everybody remember to mute yourself, turn your video off. We have an exciting speaker tonight, judge tonight, and Jean will do the introduction. Jean?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute myself, sorry. Okay, Chane serves as a NECCC Photography Conference web developer and leads monthly meetings on keeping clubs active. In 2017, he won the NECCC Conference First Place Monochrome Print Portrait Award. The previous year, 2 of his photos were accepted by the Connecticut Association of Photographers for their Tops 100 selection. He also won the Best Show Award at Flagpole Photographers Annual Competition 2019, and prior to that won the club's annual Nature Award, which earned his photo a permanent placement on the wall of the town library. Chane has been judging for regional camera clubs for years, including both monthly competitions and annual competitions. He offers insightful critiques and suggestions to allow the maker to increase the strength of their photos. Chane, thank you for doing this for us tonight, judging.
Thanks, Gene. I'll have to live up to all that, so
I'm sure.
ready.
Okay. Okay, we have a signed abstract. Mhm. Okay. Candy dish.
Okay, what I liked about this photos were the reds, the yellows, the oranges, but I found that roundish blue thing in the center to be, different than the rest of the photo. And to me, it was kind of harsh looking when I got to the center, and that kind of diminished the overall result.
Once upon a time too.
Oh, hang on, mine are in a different order. Okay,
Mm.
hang on, I gotta find that one.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So I found many parts of this photo interesting. However, I found myself looking right in the center. You can see it in the photo there, and potentially distracting me from the abstract beauty around the rest of the photo. Okay. So I like the subject choice here. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I like it. What I would suggest is consider a larger aperture number to increase the focus depth, and maybe consider adding some artificial light so we can see into those holes a little deeper. Before looking at the title, I had no idea what I was gazing at. Most of the photo is, it's an excellent backdrop for another photo. I think a little more detail on the dahlia and cropping in a little to show it off a little more would meet your goal. Okay, just for my clarification, so you're not reading titles or anything right now, we're just silently the picture comes up, is that how it works?
Yes, Mike said not that I
Okay.
didn't have to read the title, so it'd be easier for you.
Okay,
Okay.
so do you want me to read them or not?
I can read them, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, Old Sands and Gravel Pair.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you as a club, I just was.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this was a good idea. From a composition viewpoint, having the objects in the lower left corner actually it's in the corner may not be a good idea. Sometimes you don't want to put them right in the corner, just like the opposite side. It's not in the corner, but it's it's up near the corner. And what I was wondering when look at this is if flipping it, vertically, so what you see on the left would appear on the right, might even give it a better composition, because now we can read across it left to right like we do a piece of paper. That's all.
Okay. Crisscross in black and white.
Okay. I think using monochrome on this photo worked well, because the viewer is now going to focus on the design and not the colors. And so we have, kind of a black design in the front, and a white design in the back. On my screen, it was kind of losing some detail, maybe grainy, and that kind of distracted me from the patterns that are there.
Okay. Water, fire.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to have to change something here. There we go. Okay. So I like the colors in this. I like the fire in the foreground, the fire in the midground, but the clouds didn't really carry on all of that great, fire theme, a little bit in the bottom. So I thought the clouds became a little distracting because they didn't carry on the fire.
Textures at the sunken gardens.
Okay. Technically it's well captured. A lot of different objects, all in focus. There are many types of items, right? And I was having trouble identifying what abstract you wanted me to take a look at, what you'd created that was abstract, or which part of the photo I should focus on.
Insight.
Wow. Yeah, everybody's looking at this one. It clearly attracts the viewer's attention as we try to understand what's there besides the eye, what we're all looking at right now. I wonder if adding more space under the eye would take it up a notch.
Okay. Star Spangled Banner at Arizona, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii.
Okay. I like the photo as a story of Pearl Harbor, but I had to search to figure out what the photographer considered abstract, and I figured it must be the roof. But I was looking for a little more abstract.
Where do we begin?
Okay. You know,
Great.
this is a well done reflection. Generally, the details of the capture are very well done, very clear. But consider a larger aperture number just so some of the other parts. The red string on the left-hand side is a little soft. And I also noticed inside, like in the left-hand side, those red strings where you went in to make it black, sometimes there's some editing artifacts inside there.
Nosy neighbor.
I like this concept of the noisy neighbor. You know, in this, there's a couple required parts, and one is that window frame in the bottom. And if you notice, that window frame kind of becomes the horizon, just like, you know, the beech wood or whatever. In this case, it's not really level. So since it's so important to anchor, which I think is a bird there looking in the window, make sure that that horizon line is level. And also consider cropping from the top, because I think your photo really starts at that bright yellow kind of in the mid. So the top just distracts from the neighbor, the noisy neighbor.
Sapphire to ceruleum.
Yeah. Conceptually, I like this idea, but I found the lack of detail. Maybe a larger aperture was needed to improve focus range, just to show off more detail in the photo. And that details the abstract. Sorry about that. Yeah, keep going.
Right.
Next photo.
Bright veins.
Okay, with fall in New England underway, this is a nice abstract tapestry capture. I found the bright spots on that leaf in the top center, drawing my eye more than you probably wanted. That's distracted me from some of the beauty you've created. Consider if a sharper focus would show off those veins more, because your title's Bright Veins. I think a little sharper focus would really make them pop.
Anyone's guess.
Okay, it's a nice abstract pattern, right? It's kind of irregular, but it's there. You'll probably your choice of probably a small aperture number has the best focus on the middle, you know, on the plant in the middle. So my eye is going to go right to the middle where you have great focus. The edges are kind of nicely blurred to direct me to the middle. The problem with the middle is there's a kind of that large black spot, or, you know, hole, no plant. And I think I ended up looking at that black area too much.
Autumn walk.
Okay. Okay. You know, I'm not sure how you captured or edited this, but I like the result of moving from kind of a photo that was probably reality to an abstract reality. So from the category standpoint, I think this really fits in there well. I wonder if having the person's shadow darker or larger would even take it up more.
Abstract movement.
Okay, you know, this almost looks like molten gold. It's well done, well captured, but maybe it's just me, but the sense that I thought it was kind of like molten gold, I wanted to see a little more detail in the shadows and maybe just saturate that golden tone that's in there just a little more, so more of it came through.
Honorable mention, Barbara Garofano, lily padding.
Very nice collection of nature in an abstract way, right? We're looking at the top of this pond, you know, in the lily pad, and we're seeing clouds and sky. So great job doing that. The reflection, you know, really captures the beauty of the day without actually showing the day. So I really like that part. And one more thing here. I do find the exposures a little high and kind of washed out some of the color in the green, especially where we're seeing the clouds. So I think a little lower exposure would have made it pop even more.
Honorable mention, Don Jacobs elevator.
So this, it's simple, yet it's complex and a very creative abstract. Great symmetry, shot right in the corner, got the two edges, it's a lot in there. I was wondering if you considered other perspectives to see if they had more impact. Maybe it was getting down lower and looking up, but I think you found a great spot for an abstract photo to enter into this competition. Good job.
Third place, Paula McCollum.
I think this is a very impressive collection of ripples from this pond scene. I don't know if you made those ripples or that's the way it was, but great job. From a symmetry perspective, the tree that this is kind of radiating from the dark area in the back, I think it might have been fine if that was in the center of the picture, kind of giving you a spot to come from or go to.
Second place, Janet Lawn, Under the Boardwalk.
So great job on this photo. It's very well done. I think the reflection works perfectly for this category. A very small point in the gap on the first left-hand gap between the first two pilings. There's a little bit of sensor dust, I think. So watch for the details.
First place, Carmine Polstra, Geometric Color.
Okay, congratulations. Great use of similar patterns in a unique way, right? She chose to rotate the umbrella or whatever they are, and it just added more to it. So it's both simple and complex. So I think it came out great. I like the way the color and the details are captured.
We have creative.
Okay, hang on. I got to switch over to creative.
Okay. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to get to the creative photos where my notes
Okay.
are. Okay, so what do we put that back up? Whatever's first.
Okay.
Yep.
Come, we fly.
Yep. It's a nice scene to capture. I like the choice to add the smoke, however he did that, post-processing there, whatever. I did find the post-processing that created lines, especially around the blonde's hair and the redhead somewhat, makes them appear to lose a lot of depth. I mean, they almost look like they're just stickers stuck on there. But then when I look down lower to their feet, I see nice three-dimensional, it's a 2D print, right? But I see some good rounded depths in the bottom. So I'm just wondering, it may be loosening up or not having so much of that pre-processing would have kept even the top half very rounded.
Heaven's Gate.
Okay, a great job noticing this photo opportunity. You have a whole lot of leading lines leading you to that door. I wonder if lowering the camera a couple feet would have made these leading lines even more dramatic.
Pumpkin spice and everything nice.
Yeah, what a great scene. I mean, again, we're in fall, pumpkin time. I like the arrangement and I like the courage to crop the items around it. You can look and see at the top and on the right. I think it was a good choice. I didn't need to see those. I wanted to get to the slice of pumpkin pie, really good. The light on the I think powdered sugar that's on the pumpkin pie is a little hot. So a little lower exposure on just that kind of the powdered sugar area would have helped.
Second place, Paula McCollum, A Glorious Morning.
Very well done. Whatever magic you use to create this, good job. But I think what the most important to this magic was that beautifully captured flower you used as a base. I found the circles even on second place, so congratulations there, but I'm going to point out a little thing. If you look at the circle, the red right in the middle, there's some circle striation in there. So it's not a really well-developed gradient, but great photo. Congratulations on the second place.
First place, John, Destiny Looking Back.
Congratulations. This is an amazing creation, from capturing the model a couple different times to creating the layout and the effects to add the model and back in. Just congratulations. It came out great. I gave it a perfect score.
So we have Nature General.
Okay. I'll let you know when I'm there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Joshua Trees at Night.
Okay, so your first take on this is that's a nice photo. But this is nature, and hand of human-made artifacts shouldn't be there. And in the case of these Joshua trees, they were clearly painted by a human, flashlight, headlights, campfire, whatever. The human painted the front of the Joshua trees, which means it's not qualified for a nature. It'd be a great open color photo.
Aurora Lights the Sky in Glacier National Park.
So this is well, first of all, I disqualified this one as well, kind of for the same reason. If you look at the tree in the bottom, you can see it's lit from something, and you're not going to get the northern lights in the background like that, probably, unless the tree was lit by a street light or flashlight or whatever. So a human was involved in lighting that tree, so that disqualified it. Another thing about this photo, so let's assume it's qualified. The white clouds in the top are lacking a lot of detail. So two things. One, it's disqualified, but if it was qualified, I still had some issues with the clouds in the top lacking detail. Okay.
Smoky Mountain.
Okay, just grabbed a sip of water there.
Mhm.
Okay. What a beautiful place to be. I mean, especially at that time of day, whether it was sunset or sunrise, just a great spot. The big white border is bright, and it distracts from the photo. And you'll also notice the borders are slightly different sizes, especially the top's not the same as the left and right. So that's, you want to keep it as symmetric as possible. The other thing is, if this was, so if you were going to put this in the SSCC nature category, which follows PSA law or PSA guidelines, the border would be too wide for that. Let's see. That's it.
Clematis in the Morning Light.
Okay, it was a great idea to look inside this flower and capture this. I would suggest considering different camera settings to enhance the detail and the focus of the center of the flower that you captured.
Honorable mention, Doreen Kennedy, Shaking Hands in the Fog.
This in nature, story is important. I should have mentioned this through all of them, and we're going to see it again in the next set of nature, the wildlife. But to me, this really talked about, the fog in there brought in a story. And I really like that part of the foggy morning story in it. On my screen, the color tones of the sky seem to have some purple in them. I'm not sure where that came from. It could be chromatic aberration in your lens. So you might have been able to clean that up in post-processing.
Third place, Bill Thorne, Erie Falls.
Okay. A great portrait of this waterfall. A slow shutter speed, probably a half a second or a second, add that nice silkiness to it. But what that also caused is some of the areas to be a little bit overexposed in that water. So you needed to either reduce the highlights in post-processing or take your exposure down just a little. And I think one thing to consider is it a portrait? You've cropped it as a landscape, but are you okay if you just cropped it more as a square or a portrait orientation, just to have everybody focus on the water?
Second place, Jennifer Whelan, A White Symphony in Nature's Orchestra.
Yeah. What a great scene to capture. The composition is great. The top of the flower is a little overexposed, taking away some of the detail. So potentially lowering the exposure a little would have helped that. And the white spot below the flower, luckily it is out of focus based on the aperture choice, but it's still a little distracting.
First place, Don Jacobs, Spring Street.
Okay, so amazing scene with great light, and congratulations on capturing this. And one thing I'll just say as a comment for everybody, when you see great light, it's time to take a photo. And I think this was a good example of the light was perfect and it came out across in the photo.
Nature Wildlife.
Okay, I'm switching over to it. Okay, I'm ready.
Fluttery Friend.
Okay, so to start with, I just qualified this, and remember I emailed with your competition team on this because the background I believe is artificial, and I believe that in a couple ways. One is very seldom in nature do you see a perfectly same color background everywhere, and then there's some editing artifacts around the yellow flower itself. So just qualified.
Okay. Just Passing By.
Yeah. Nice picture of this bear, but if you look at that stump behind it, you can see it has a flat cut across it, or mostly flat. That doesn't happen in nature. If this tree had been, fallen over from old age or whatever, it'd be a very irregular cut at the top of that stump. In this case, I think it's pretty obvious that a human was involved, probably with a chainsaw, probably a decade or two ago, but it was cut off by a human. Now, for the photographer that took this, if you just cropped down a little more so I couldn't see the top of that stump, it would have been qualified.
Nesting in the Low Country.
So I talked about having a nature story, and here we have a nesting nature story. So it's nice from that standpoint, but it looks a bit overexposed. And I say that more from a lack of detail than super bright, but there's so somehow details lacking. Detail is lacking in some of the feathers, which isn't good on a nature photo. And again, I saw in the white photos a little bit of purple, probably just simple chromatic aberration, which you could remove in editing tools. Okay.
The Stale.
Okay. So nature story is important, as I've mentioned a couple times. And here we have a story of these two birds. And that's about all I could figure out at the start from the photo. Is clearly there's a bird-to-bird interaction here, but it wasn't that obvious to me. Luckily, the title, The Steal, calls out. And if you look really close, there is a fish in there that they're fighting over. But I thought it was kind of hard to see that interaction. You knew it was there, but I had trouble. But the real issue I had with this is the yellows just didn't look the color that I expected in the bird. Now, maybe the bird is that shade of yellow, but it just seemed like you might have moved the yellow slider a little too far, or the white balance slider.
Honorable mention, Susan Hagstrom, Supper Time Silhouette.
Okay, a nice creative choice to focus on the story. So here we're not worried about branches or anything else. We just see a parent feeding a baby. At least that's what I see. So I think it worked really well. So congratulations on the honor award. One thing to think about is, sorry, I'm jumping back in there, is do you need the ground anchoring the post? Sometimes people do, sometimes you don't, but just play around with it once and take off the a little bit at the bottom so we're really focused on the bird.
Third place, Linda Thorndike, Watchful Eye.
Okay. When this first came up, I'm going, whoa, looks like a little risky entry to me here. But it worked out. And I saw the green leaf and I'm going, well, a green leaf can work in two ways here. It can block me from getting in to see the eye, or in this case, it leads me in to want to see more. The fact that the leaf is out of focus is great because as humans, we don't want to stay on the out of focus, so we go great to the eye. So congratulations on the third place, and I'm curious to find out what kind of animal's eye it was.
Second place, Dawn Messenger, My Perch.
A very nice photo of the eagle. My only feedback is consider cropping in to highlight the bird a little more. I don't know if you had enough bits in your photo to do that, but there's a lot of stuff on the left and a little bit above that I didn't need to see that magnificent bird.
First place, Robert Sullivan, How Do You Like Me Now?
Okay. Congratulations on this. Perfect timing, amazing photo, great shutter speed to freeze that action. So great job on that. I think the white is a tad bit overexposed, but congratulations on the first place.
And we have open black and white.
Okay. I'll let you know when I'm there. We're making great progress here.
I know.
Maybe I should talk slower. Oh, okay, I got him.
Okay. Morning Run.
Okay, a nice story to capture. So great job doing it. The large aperture choice you made, it gives you nice starbursts, and I think they help create that leading line out to the boat. You already have a little one from the sun, and it's even more with those bright dots leading you there. So great job there. In the, let's see, top right side, there's some what I saw as sensor dust spots. So just keep that in mind. You might need to clean your sensor.
Serengeti, The Endless Plain.
So looks like a beautiful area. It does look a little hazy. I don't know what kind of post-processing you do, but if you got a dehaze slider or maybe a contrast slider, could have taken out a little of that haze. And for the composition, I do use the trees as a leading line. Well, I was trying to decide, are the trees my leading line off into this beautiful scene, or is the road my leading line to the beautiful scene? So if it's the road, I just needed a little more road on the right-hand side so it wasn't kind of cropped off at the edge.
Second place, Rosemary Sampson, A Street Pair.
Okay, it's a well done, long exposure, and that exposure added a lot to the scene. I think long exposures often highlight reflections. This photo's got a lot of great reflections in it, so great job there. The downside of that long exposure is you got a ghost wandering around on the end of the pier. I think it's kind of okay, and a great job getting second place.
First place, Edward Leahy, Lake in Maine.
So I think this IR conversion to monochrome was a great choice. You got crisp, beautiful shadows and a great scene. I mean, congratulations. I gave it a perfect score.
Okay, we have open color, 2 images, and okay. Beginner, open color beginner, 2 images.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll be there in a second. Hang on.
okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, second place, Doreen Kennedy, Color in Ireland.
So I like the story, the storytelling you captured here. You can clearly see the musician. He's got music making things. It looks like on his left hand, on both feet. It's captured, even though you had kind of non-ideal lighting. So good job that. I felt the focus on the person was a little soft. It almost looked like the focus was a little on like that black bar, maybe just to the right-hand side of them. So a little more attention on the focus, I think, and potentially moving a little physically if you could. It could have been a crowd you couldn't move, but if you could have moved a little to the left, I think it would have been more impressive.
First place, Millie Ennis, Don't Let the Grass Grow Under Your Feet.
Yeah, great title. You know, nice color and details in those boots. There are a couple shiny spots on the boots, so potentially a lower exposure would have helped with that. And I thought the green plants looked a little too green. So if you did take up the color saturation in this photo, you needed to lower the green saturation afterwards.
So I thought this might be a good time to take a break.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was just about to hop on that.
Okay, great.
All right.
So,
So we'll take a quick 10-minute break, and then we'll continue on. If
okay,
everybody's
sounds
cool
good.
with that. All right. So Shane, actually, someone actually reached out and had actually a question about one of the photos. It had to do with the Osprey stand. Since that wasn't that considered man-made? How is that not something that would be considered disqualified?
Yep. No, it's a great question. So the PSA nature rules are about 23 pages long. And one of the things it says is a human-made object can be visible if it's you know, basically required for the story. And if you think about it, that platform was created for the osprey to nest in.
Mhm.
So it's okay. Just like a barn swallow in a barn, it's okay to capture that. So you really, I hate to say it, but you got 20 pages of reading in the PSA rules, and it actually shows good pictures of those type of exceptions, like the osprey in its nest. So you kind of understand that, you know, that they've adapted to us, you know, building a nest on a platform we gave them. So there's a few exceptions like that.
Right. What is it kind of actually? I mean, besides the obvious rule of thumb for trying to do nature, and it's tough sometimes to be very conscious about like the environment that you're taking these photos in. But like, I don't. It's how like when you go out and you do nature photography or anything like that. How do you kind of check yourself to make sure that like the photo you're going to be taking is something that is truly nature centric, and there is no hand-to-man involved in it whatsoever, because like there could be like the littlest of things. It could be I mean, if I remember correctly, like even like years before, it was like, oh well, this particular tree is or this particular flower is actually not native to blah blah blah, so therefore it is man-made, therefore disqualified.
Dan, that's another great question. And so what I do is I just try to keep it really simple. If there's going to be a human-made thing, even in this case of the osprey nest, I just avoid it. Just realize that, you know, because I don't know all the exceptions, right? They're almost impossible to know. So just keep it simple and say, you know, if there's a fence in there, let it go. On plants, that's a highly debatable topic because no one knows if that plant is native or not.
Right.
And so my feeling on plants is don't take a picture of a row of flowers. Clearly, man made that row of flowers.
Mhm.
One individual flower in there, especially one individual flower with a bee on it, is fine. But if you look at it and you say it's obvious that a person cultivated it, stay away from it. Field of wheat. It's obvious a person's growing a field of wheat or a field of corn. But that doesn't mean that a sunflower, and this example is actually in the PSA guidelines, a picture of a sunflower field is not allowed. But a bee on a sunflower is allowed because, again, what you're capturing is that nature story of a bee getting food or pollinating the sunflower. So look at the actual subject you're creating and then say, there's nothing here a human did. I can't tell.
Right.
And so I just keep it simple for myself and just try to say there's no human involved. But I'll tell you, it is tricky. I've actually, as the coordinator for competition, I put I said that picture's fine. It had a road right down the middle of it because the background was so amazing. It was like a Mountain West photo. Humans, we just forgot about the road because the skyline was amazing. So it is hard. And so one thing to do is share these photos. Ask somebody else to take a look at them, even if they don't know anything about photography. Just ask them, do you see anything that we would have created? You know, like a road or a plane or a tire. And it's always good to get a second opinion, because even when you know to stay away from it, it's still easy to get confused.
Right, right. And for newcomers that are in our club as well, and or getting themselves into photography for something like that, what kind of advice would you give for someone who wants to shoot nature photography? Like there was a lot of explanation where you were saying, some of the detail of the feathers weren't,
Yeah.
weren't as detailed and things like that. So, what advice would you give for someone who's just starting out and interested in nature photography?
Yeah, that's good. First, be patient. You have to actually find these things in the wild. A zoo actually works good for nature photography if you're not patient. Just try to avoid the man-made things. But I would say, the comments on the birds were always white birds in a dark background. So your camera is going to generally have your exposure set on kind of a, do the best calculation you can camera. And it doesn't know that white bird is that important to you. So one thing I do when I'm out, especially when there's white birds, is I'm underexposing by, say, 2/3 of a stop or a full stop, so that I know when I capture that white bird, it's probably not blown out, because I don't want to take time, and I actually let the camera choose the exposure, but my camera has a little device that I can say underexpose and see if your camera has that, because then it's real handy. If you're just out, you're at the beach and there's some white birds around, just underexposed by a full stop, take your pictures like you would normally. And then it's easy to brighten up a picture, but you can't, once it's overexposed, the data's gone. It's 100% white. There's nothing you can do to bring back the feather details. And when we're, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. That's fine. So when you do your job, because Chane, you've been here before, judging as well. So what is your technique, or what is your play when it comes to looking at a group of photos? Are you very by the book, or do you go by your emotions? Like what captures you when you look at these photos?
Yeah. So I actually study the photos, look at the details, and I'm looking for 4 big photographic principles. And then one of them is storytelling, very important in nature, but it's important in all photos. The next one is creativity. You guys had the creativity category, so to go and maybe find a unique perspective. Creativity is not about Photoshop stuff. It's about a new way to take a photo of where somebody else might have already taken it. Maybe it's just kneeling down, maybe it's walking 10 feet to the left. So that was storytelling, creativity. Then comes composition. Composition is when your mind is comfortable as you wander through the photo. And like in the one photo I talked about, I couldn't figure out if the trees were my leading line or the road was my leading line. They kind of fought each other. So the composition wasn't ideal because I couldn't figure out how it was composed or how me as a viewer should look through it. So 3rd is composition. And 4th is technical. Attention to detail matters. And that's where, lack of detail in the feathers, lack of detail, anywhere that's needed. Sometimes detail is not needed. That foggy scene with the 2 trees in the mist, you don't need a lot of detail there because it's a different type of story. But where there's a story where certain things should be in focus, they need to be in focus, they need to be sharp, contrast needs to be well. all the technical things. But remember, technical is only one of those 4 principles I went across. And you have to be careful you don't stay in just one of them. You don't need all 4. You don't have to have a story and be creative and great composition and great technical, but you need 2 or 3 of them to really, that's where the wow factor comes for. Like I can tell you those Joshua trees, when they came up, I said, wow, look at that Milky Way. Look at those trees. It's got a good wow factor, but then why? And the why, the stars were perfect. The Milky Way was perfect, right? I like the way the trees were. It's only later I figured out that it was a human-made light on the trees and I had to disqualify it. But first, so to me, if I do go wow when I see a photo, I then have to decide why is it wow? What in it made it wow? Break it down to the 4 parts and look at it. That's how I approach judging.
Right. And I feel for something like that, everyone should have that the mentality when it comes to looking at their own photos, that they really kind of have to compartmentalize an image and to see, you know, does it tell a story? You know, and when what you're trying to convey in this. So if like we were saying, nature photography, you know, you're looking and you're focusing on nature and not man-made, or like what kind of setup do you have going on when you try to take these photos, and what's your audience when it comes to taking those photos as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Karen asked, and I think this is a more of a club question, but Karen asked if we enter picks, will we get the score sheet from Chane? And I feel that we do that. Is that correct?
That's a mic question.
Yeah. I feel that we do. I'm not 100% sure about that, but
Dan, isn't it on our website? I mean, on the Visual Pursuits?
Yeah.
The score?
Okay.
I think you can see your own score. I'm not sure you can see everybody else's.
Okay. All right. Well, see, there you go. There's your answer. So are we ready to go back, or do you still need some time?
I'm all set. Is Chane all set? Do you ready, Chane?
I'm all set.
Okay.
How many more do we have, actually?
I'm not positive on, I'm sorry that I should have taken account beforehand.
Sorry.
We have open color intermediate and open color master, and I'm not sure how many on.
Yeah, it's probably
Then we have
25.
advanced.
Yeah.
About 25, 30? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So we're gonna go back. Shane gonna be doing the judging, and everybody sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oops, I'm sorry. I got a little stuck here. Okay, Straw Hat Girls.
Okay. You know, it's a nice memory of the trip, probably to an aquarium somewhere. The hats have some good detail in it, but other than that, I found the focus seemed a little soft, especially that purple backpack.
World's End.
Okay, a good memory of this place. While there are many good elements in this photo, I was trying to figure out where the composition wanted to lead me. And, you know, I kind of used the water as a leading line. It leads me to that house. And that's probably not what you want me to focus on. So think about when you're taking a photo or any photo, where you want the viewer to end up. And it just wasn't clear in this one.
Practice Jibe.
Okay. I mean, it's amazing how many people it takes to run a competition sailboat here. I was impressed just on that alone. And you captured that. But about half the people have their face behind the sail. So it really loosens the impact of seeing the scene. And also the detail on the individual people isn't very sharp. It's hard to even see the expression of the people that are turned towards the camera. So a little more detail would be good.
Heading into the Storm.
Okay, here's that. Okay, definitely looked like you're going into the storm. Boy, did this title match what you're seeing on the screen. I think the bluish tint that you've added probably to the photo, maybe it's the windshield, but whatever, the bluish tint that's there, I get to see what you submitted. I think actually emphasizes the fact that trouble's ahead. Blue is a cool color. I mean, like in cold, and the storm doesn't look like a good place to go. I would say consider cropping down at the top, because that kind of that blue sky at the top that's not stormy. I didn't need to see that. Let me see more storm and less nice blue sky.
Fall reflections.
Okay. Beautiful capture of the fall colors in the water, right? And actually the fall colors, you know, in above the water, on the land. But the blue porch really distracts me from the beauty of nature. And if you just imagine that blue porch and house wasn't there, it's like an amazing nature, or not nature, but fall scene. So think about either standing in a different spot if you ever go there again, or shooting a little more down, just so things like the house that conflicts with the scene are not in the photo.
Coming home, Inner Harbor.
Okay. It's great that you captured the scene of a boat coming through the open drawbridge, right? It's a nice action shot. You can see it's actually a story, right? They're coming home, and that's there. But if you look around the photo, you see people eating off to the left. You see people on the right off talking, and both of those groups aren't paying attention at all to your scene, which is the boat coming through. So potentially changing this from a landscape to a portrait, where I'm really just going, you know, kind of from flag to flag, and the boat in the middle would have had more impact.
Mirror in the marsh.
So it's an impressive reflection in the water. I do wonder if a longer exposure would have even brought out more reflection, but you have a huge amount of reflection there the way it is. I would say consider cropping down to keep people focused on the reflection. The sky is nice, but it's not as powerful as your reflection. So eliminate some of the sky. I know it's going to hit the trees and things like that, but take a look and see what you think.
Happy 7th, Eva.
Okay, you know, beautiful smile. To me, that the child and the clothes seem a little bright, you know, a little overexposed. And the green looked a little too green. And maybe that's lawn was, you know, well fertilized, and that's what it looks like, but it just seemed a little green and distracting from the girl. Something else is her right hand is out of view. And I think I actually like that. And doing a similar thing with her feet and her left hand, I think would have let us again focus on the person and her smile, and not wandering around seeing a toe here or a hand there.
Looking out the window.
Yeah, I think another shot of good light. You know, a lot of people say that post just ruins it. I think, you know, the way he's grabbing it, the way he's sticking his head out past it, actually works for a pretty good portrait. But you can see his face, his hand are just a little overexposed, couple hot spots on him. So keep that in mind. And I think that reflective glass, which would be just to that person's left side on the right side of the photo, you know, there's a reflection of somebody wearing a red jacket or whatever. So think about anytime you see a reflective surface, worry about what's coming through it, and you could have probably cropped it out.
Eclipse at Mountain View Farm.
Oh yeah. One thing I probably forgot to say about these photos, especially, I should have said several times, there are many really good photos in here. And as a judge, I have to make choices, right? And so, you know, I'll say good things about a photo. I might point out a few things, but there's a lot of good photos that are not getting awards because there's only so many awards. Okay. This was an interesting use of the daytime eclipse photos, and then merging it in with this, you know, compositing it in with, you know, a sunrise or a sunset, whatever's being used here for the farm scene. I think it was good. It's extremely good editing. I'm wondering if, since you probably captured these as the eclipse, if if you would have not exposed them so heavily, you might have seen a little moon surface, might even have added a little more to it.
Third place, Janet Lawn, boat.
Okay. So very impressive light painting skills. Okay, I don't know, it probably took you more than one try. Let's put it that way. Probably more than a dozen, but it came out great. I really like the red sand at the bottom, anchoring it there. You have the little light painted red to kind of anchor the boat sign, but the sand even being lit up even helps more. On the E, in the middle of the E, you probably see it tends to be a little bright, but it's fine. It's a sign. It could be white. Congratulations on the third place.
Second place, Edward Leahy, Marina Bay Sunset. Leahy.
Okay. Another great sunrise or sunset. You know, the large aperture number you chose to use created that starburst around the sun, which I really like. I think it adds a lot to the sun, because remember, in the middle of the sun, there's not going to be any detail, right? We look at the sun, we can't see any detail. But that starburst really helped bring it in and let us see more of what's there. You know, I do find that large tower kind of, you know, about 2/3 the way down in the middle, a little distracting, but luckily it was in shadow, so it's not a big deal. Congratulations on the second place.
First place, Pamela Hurst, Fall in the Canadian Rockies.
You know, great capture. You know, I'm going to say out in Mountain West. I realize it's Canada. Not Canada would look the same as well, you know, Glacier Park in Wyoming or whatever. Great job. I like the yellow framing the scene. In this case, you know, it's not more than framing. It's taking up 2/3 of the scene, but it helps get you in because you go look at the yellow and then you go, what's behind the yellow? And now you see that majestic, you know, snow-capped mountains, you know, beautiful sky. So another perfect score. Congratulations.
Open color. Open color advanced.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. Main boathouse.
Okay. You know, you're in a great vantage point for capturing this photo, and there's many aspects of the boathouse I like. But I think one thing is to get me to stay at the boathouse. You know, at the landscape picture, most of what I want to look at, especially around your title, the boathouse, is kind of a square in the middle or more of a portrait in the middle. So I would say crop very aggressively, like on the right-hand side to that second boat. You got to leave a little room next to the boat, but quite a bit in. And the right-hand side, just give me a little past the red building. And if you're playing around with it because you want to take a look at it and play with cropping, take a look to see what happens if you lose the top floor of the building. I have no idea what it will look like, but it really lets me focus on the two boats, you know, well, 3 or 4 boats there. So it'd really be a different shot of just the world of the boats. Okay.
New England in the pink.
Okay. This photo, you know, you got a foreground, you got a midground, you got a background, you got a sky behind that. A lot of great things in a landscape photo. In this scene, I kind of looked at it as it's framed with the you know, the sharp pink, I think they're lupins that are there in the foreground in great focus, framing the scene. So it's framing is a good concept. I like it. But what happens is I went to that frame with the 2 pink ones and I wanted to keep going. And your actor choice or your focus choice has the rest of the scene being out of focus, which I'm really fine with the sky out of focus, the church out of focus. But since I used the 2 pink flowers as a frame to walk into, I had nothing to see after I walked in. So think about what you wanted the viewer to see and what you thought should be more in focus.
We've even done it blurrier.
Kala cloud.
Okay. The soft beauty and color here is what some people want to hang on their wall. The story tells some people what a story tells, any story or most stories in photos. Nature might be special. We can see it's two birds fighting over a fish, but other photos, photos going to tell people 1,000 words. I think it has a very deep and meaningful story for a lot of people. I think others will miss out on that story by not seeing the beauty you created. I don't have any suggestions on how to pull the story out better, but I think there might be a way.
Third place, Valerie Salvoni, Summer Shanty Sunset.
Okay, again, amazing sunset, sunrise photo. I think in a sunset photo, you're always questioning what should my foreground be. And I think in this one, the boats worked really well. They serve as a leading line to get out to the clouds and the sunset, right? You don't see the sun, but the colors are coming from, a sunset or a sunrise. So I think the boats really serve that. And you got, I don't know, lucky or just where you stood as you go down the boats to get out a little further. And so it actually makes a really good line to lead you to those clouds. So great job. Consider the houses that are in shadow in the middle right. They're in shadow, but if you do post-processing, think even more about darkening up a little more, make those shadows less, right? Have them go away a little more just so people don't even notice them.
Second place, Muffy Lutzen, Whispered Secret.
Yeah. The secret adds a lot to this story. And in fact, I came up with that little thing before I even noticed it was about whispered secrets, or maybe subliminally I knew it was. But the camera that took this picture did a great job, recognized there was two faces there, putting them both in great focus, both have great detail. And you have that great story of the whispering. Let me see, I might have one more thing to add. Great job.
First place, Robert Sullivan, Beach Landing.
Okay. Amazing photo. I gave it a perfect score. And this was one, when we were talking to Dan at the break, I said, this comes up, you say, wow. And then you go, why am I saying wow? And you start looking at the details, the expression on every person's face, the one that's jumping, everything's in perfect focus. I think this had a very high shutter speed, froze the action. So you start drilling in and you start looking at the other aspects, or why is a wow focus? And I think everything came together here very well. Congratulations.
Open Color Master.
Okay, our last category.
Okay.
Put it up on my screen here. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Ripples of Prismatic Spring.
Okay, the ripples are well captured here, but I think in a different light, they would have had the ripples would have been much more impactful. I kind of think there might be some good light in the back of this picture. You kind of see a little more color. I don't know if that's good light or a different type of mud or whatever, but I think it just needed something else to take it up a notch.
Beach Ballerina.
Okay. Another great leap and resulting photo. Probably the same person as the last photo. I mean, a model, not photographer. But your choice to use kind of a medium shutter speed to give her a little motion blur, I couldn't figure out how that fit into the story. Should it be motion blurred? Should it be frozen? And if it's going to be motion blurred, maybe even a lower shutter speed so that the blur actually now shows the motion as opposed to just looking a little out of focus. So think about your shutter speed a little more.
Working Hard Loading Sacks of Rice.
Okay, it's a good travel environmental photo, right? We know what it's like to be here. We see this person's job is to get this grain of whatever type it is into the bag. And then, I'm looking for a little more detail, and I'm wondering, is the hand scraping the grain in there motion blurred for me to show that the person's hard at work, or was it just an accident and you didn't want it there? So just make sure your goals are clear when you're capturing these, and then they'll come across clear to the person viewing them.
A street pier sunset.
This photo, you know, such a great place to be again, you know, sunrise, sunset, whatever it is. But one thing, as I looked at it, I said, I'm seeing two photos. There's this boat full of flowers, which is bright and colorful, that draws a lot of attention. And then, of course, there's this beautiful sunset. I'm going to call it a sunset. I don't know if they're sunrises or sunsets. I'm just going to call them all sunsets. I think the title says sunset. You know, you got the sun, it's framed by the pier sign, it's all good. So, but as I looked at it, you know, my eyes are kind of bouncing between. It's kind of like watching a tennis match. Do I want to look at the flowers? Do I want to look at the sunset scene? And since they're both so beautiful, I couldn't decide. So you might need to actually make two photos out of it, or make one much more bright than the other one, or much more appealing. But right now, I saw them both kind of balanced, which meant I couldn't figure out where to look.
Third place, Rosemary Sampson, My Blue Heaven.
So congratulations on this photo. Very nice. Super high shutter speed to freeze the action here. You got probably a small number to aperture to make the background blurry, but consider a slightly larger aperture number, because the bottom of the hummingbird is starting to lose detail, and the flower is so sharp. It would have been nice if the hummingbird sharpness matched the flower. And it's not motion blur because you froze it with a very high shutter speed. So I think it's really aperture blur.
Second place, Frederick Eckon, Cologne Cathedral.
Yeah. This, you know, what a great location you picked to take this photo. The bridge is serving as a leading line to get to the cathedral. So those two things came together. Your high aperture creates starbursts all over the place. So again, a great choice. And you kept your exposure low enough that nothing, especially the lighted roof on the cathedral, isn't overexposed. So man, you nailed everything. You got your composition, you got your technical, you got a story. I've been fortunate enough to actually see that once. So it all came together. Great job.
First place, Joe McCourt, I Love the Nightlife.
So what a great photo. You know, just enough light to see the details to remind us it's dark and shiny on a disco dance floor. So that's that lighting, and the lighting on her face is a little brighter than everybody else, which is good. It really brings it out. There is some really harsh lighting on what would be the bottom of her right arm. So think about whether you could remove that. But an amazing photo. Congratulations on first place.
And that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Shane. That was awesome. So
Yeah,
many
thanks,
good input and ideas and things to think about. You know, not only gave positives, but you told us where we needed to improve, and that's always great.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's consider doing, right? You know,
Yes.
it's
Mhm.
ideas that you can either throw away or play with.
Right. Mhm. Mhm. Great job.
Great
Yeah,
job.
congratulations to all the winners. Some beautiful photography, and of course, thank you to Dan, our MC with style, and Barbara, fabulous first night. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank
you're on
you.
fire now, girlfriend. You're good.
You're a veteran now.
All right. Thank you. Sorry if anybody's name that I ruined. But,
You'll get them, huh?
Yeah. If
Exactly.
anyone has any questions or anything before we go, don't forget to keep up to date on whether next Tuesday is in person or on Zoom. We'll let you know as soon as the church lets us know.
All right. Again, thank you, Shane. It was good.
Thank
And
you.
I'll keep you all updated on the Cranberry Bog photo shoot this week.
Yeah. If there's the person here that took that eye nature photo, I'm curious what animal it is. Is that person online?
Which one was it, Shane?
The one that was just the eye.
Oh, yeah. Linda, are you still here?
Was it Linda Thorndike?
No, it was my photo.
Oh,
That
I'm sorry,
was
John. Oh,
a photo of a great blue heron, just blown very large.
Wow. That's a bird. Okay.
yeah.
I'm shocked at that too. I thought it was a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, John.
We
Yeah.
should have
Oh,
known.
I think
John,
I flipped it. I think I flipped it upside down too.
Okay.
John is great with birds, huh?
Who knew herons had brown eyes?
Exactly.
Well, Linda was saying that it's an eye of a rabbit.
Oh,
Can we bring that image back? Is that possible? So we can kind of
Nature, wildlife.
Yeah,
like
that is Linda's photo and it is a rabbit.
Okay, I thought so too, because I was like at the fur. The fur was dark, so, like brown. So I was like,
I do believe there was two of them and
Right, there were two
Yeah.
eye shots, exactly. Yep.
but
The
I
one
think
Mine
was,
was in the abstract photo.
yeah, yours was an abstract. That one did look like a bird's eye, but this one in nature wildlife looks like a mammal.
yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can get it back.
Ah,
That's okay. No
try.
problem.
God and lost forever, shown once and never shown again.
Hey,
That's true. Good point.
we're not all as techie as you there, Dan.
Oh yeah, I'm real techie.
Well, you're good MC, and so that's what counts most for us.
Yeah, that's all nature, baby. That is my nature.
Maybe I can get it back. I don't know if you show images. Okay.
And then you have to share
Oh,
your
what was that? What category was that in?
I thought it was nature.
wildlife.
That was nature. All right.
Nature, wildlife.
Okay, let me go through here. Share my screen.
Very exciting. We had a lot of people on tonight too.
We did.
So
Yeah, there were 54 of you. Nice.
Oh, that's excellent.
yeah.
Okay, I have it here. Let me just share. Now, I think I lost my entire, oh, here we go, share.
See, your job is never done, Barbara.
I'm like,
Always
where'd
got to be
my,
prepared.
where'd it go? Okay, there it is. Can everybody
Yeah.
see it?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's it. Mhm.
Great job, Barbara, finding that.
Yeah,
All right.
That's a
really.
really good photo.
Nice. Nice
And
job.
great
the
job,
Zoom.
Linda.
All right.
That is very cool.
It was. She's very creative.
Yeah.
Very.
Mhm.
Thanks, Barbara.
That was a
And thank
funny,
you
huh?
everybody for coming. A great night.
Okay, yeah, thank
A lot
you.
of good information.
Well, next time will be
Shane,
easier.
we hope to have you back, Shane. It's all good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank
In
you.
person.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.